a little bit of truth, a little bit of chaos, and a lot of opinions. Welcome to today's Reddit Roundup. First up, when stability was the plan, and saying it out loud changed everything.
Am I the jerk for marrying for money and admitting I don't really love my husband? I, 28 female, have been married to my husband, 51 male, for 3 years. Before we met, my life was chaos. Living paycheck to paycheck, struggling with student loans, and constantly anxious about the future. Then I met him at a charity event through work. He was charming, successful, confident, and clearly used to getting what he wanted. We started dating quickly. He spoiled me, expensive dinners, trips, gifts, even paid off my student debt just because. I knew what it looked like. A young woman with an older, rich man, but at the time, I told myself I did love him, or at least that I could grow to. When he proposed, I said yes. My friends were divided. Half said I was being smart, the other half said I was selling out, but honestly, I was tired of struggling. I wanted security, stability, peace. He could offer all of that. Now, a few years in, I can admit it. I don't really love him. Not the way you're supposed to love your spouse. I respect him, I care about him, and I appreciate what he's done for me. But I don't feel anything deep anymore. Recently, during an argument, he accused me of using him. I got defensive and snapped. At least I was honest about what I wanted. You wanted a pretty wife to show off, and I wanted stability. We both got what we wanted. He looked genuinely hurt and hasn't spoken much to me since. My friends are split. Some say it was cruel but truthful. Others think I'm heartless for saying it out loud. I'm not cheating, lying, or trying to hurt him. I just stopped pretending. We both knew what this marriage was when it started, but now that I've said it out loud, I can't tell if I crossed a moral line. Am I the jerk for marrying for money and admitting I don't really love my husband?
The deal seemed mutual. The truth still hurt. If security was the choice from day one, is it wrong to say it out loud now? Is honesty the right move if it breaks the relationship? What's your verdict? Let us know in the comments. One story ended in a quiet room. The next begins at a front door. This time, the stakes aren't emotional, they're astronomical. From across the street came a very serious complaint, aimed at a problem that doesn't exactly come with an off switch.
My neighbor actually asked me to turn down the sun. So this lady from across the street knocks on my door in the middle of the day, super serious look on her face. I open the door thinking something's wrong, like maybe my car alarm's going off or something. Nope. She goes, "Can you do something about the glare from your windows? It's shining into my kitchen." I just stood there trying to process that for a solid 5 seconds. Then I said, I'll see if NASA takes custom requests. She didn't laugh, just said, well, it's really inconvenient, and walked away like I actually had the power to dim the sun. Some people need a manual for reality.
Would you have kept her cool or told her to take it up with the sun god himself? If you've seen worse, we want to hear it. Share your wildest neighbor complaint. Next up, not every bad day comes from a neighbor. Sometimes it's your own workplace that pushes you too far. This one's for anyone who's ever had a boss who forgot how courtesy works.
My boss said 3 weeks' notice wasn't enough, so now they're not getting any notice. A little background. I've been working for this company full-time since May 2024 as part of an office staff for a small family-owned swim school. I've been promoted twice on account of my work ethic and not being problematic. Since I've started, we've fired around 5 office staff members and had another 5 quit. The supervisors have stayed the same, but out of all the regular office staff, I've been here the longest. I started school full-time, and I became unavailable in April for my regular shifts. I really like this place, and I knew it'd be difficult to find another job. So I thought I'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone by giving my 3 weeks' notice. Since this place doesn't employ part-time office staff, I figured I would find another job for those 3 days I am available and after school. The company is family-owned, so I first called one of the owners, my boss, to tell her over the phone before sending out an email. I told her I was very much appreciative of working there, but due to school, I'd have to quit to find another job to fit my schedule. This was basically the conversation. Me. Thank you so much, but as of today, I will be putting my 3 weeks notice. Again, thank you for allowing me to work here. I really like the staff and the job, but I am going to start school in May. Her. Ah, really? When we hired you, we asked you if you were going to school and you said no. Me. Yeah, ha ha. She had never asked me that, and either ways, I made the decision to continue studying in October. Her. All right, well, that sucks, but 3 weeks' notice isn't enough time. We have to interview and hire people. Me. I paused. Isn't it courtesy to give 2 weeks' notice? Her. Yes, minimum. Me. Okay, but I'm giving you 3 weeks. At that point, she sighed and then asked me to send her a group chat about my schedule to see if they could work around it. So, since May 2025, I've been working part-time. It hasn't really been working out, and I already got hired at another place, so today's my last day. I'm sending my letter of resignation once I clock out and leaving my keys in the safe.
Reddit's got thoughts on this. Respect is a two-way street, and this boss just learned that the hard way. Drop your take. Should workers give courtesy when management doesn't? And speaking of workplace nonsense, some managers don't just forget courtesy, they forget common sense. This next one's about what happens when being a decent human actually gets you in trouble. Imagine stepping away for 60 seconds to check if someone's hurt after a car accident, and coming back to a write-up for abandoning your post. That's exactly what happened to this guy, and his revenge was as classy as it was satisfying.
I was written up for abandoning post. To clarify my title, I am not in the military. This takes place when I was 20, working summer jobs while living with my parents to pay for college. I was already working full-time as a waiter at a very fun restaurant that I really enjoyed, but I wanted to make a little extra money, so I got a job as a host at another restaurant. Let's call it Sapphire Wednesdays. I knew immediately that the place was mismanaged, mostly cued in by the manager having a beer at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday during my interview. But my responsibilities as a host were very easy. Seat customers, inform servers, sweep the floor near the front. I had already been working in restaurants since I was 16, so my training was over in about an hour. About a week after I was hired, sometime after lunch but before dinner rush, there was a car accident in front of the store. A car was sideswiped by a semi and run into a telephone pole on a busy suburban road. I told a server to call 911 and sprinted out and across the parking lot to check on the car. Thankfully, the woman in the car was shaken but fine. The truck driver was out of his truck and on the phone with 911, and other drivers had stopped as well. A very nice moment of humanity from folks on their way home from work. I decided that everything was being handled as best as possible, so I went back into the restaurant. I walked back in to find the manager standing at the empty host stand in front of a nearly empty dining room asking, "Where did you go?" "There was an accident. I went out to make sure everyone was okay," manager asks. "Why did you feel the need to do that?" "I don't know, a jack, because I'm a human?" After a brief back and forth, the manager says he has to write me up for abandoning post. I was too confused and angry to argue, so I told him that was fine. He then reminded me that one more write-up within my first month means I'd be fired. I went home and explained all this to my dad, who was laughing through his anger and suggested I quit and just focus on the other job. I decided he was right, but hatched a plan. Rather than quit, I showed up an hour late to my next shift that the same manager worked. This happened to be Friday night during dinner, and I was the only host scheduled.
The manager was furious that he had to get out of the office and do actual work. So when I walked in, he saw me and immediately began berating me. I asked if I was going to get written up for this, to which he replied, in front of a crowd of customers, I might add, "You bet your you're getting written up." "Oh no, I guess I'm fired then. See ya."
I went home and drank whiskey and smoked a cigar with my dad on the back porch to celebrate.
Sometimes the best revenge is just letting bad management implode on its own. This manager wrote him up for being human and got exactly what he deserved. Ever worked somewhere this ridiculous? Drop your worst bad boss story in the comments. I know there are plenty out there.